Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NXT review for the 21st of December 2021. Show opens with Tommaso Ciampa in ring for promo. Ciampa says that he, as champion, is haunted with all eyes on him as champion. Ciampa is also different than past champions because Ciampa says he does the hunting. Ciampa says last week Braun Breaker became the hunted. Ciampa also goes on to say that Breaker will soon interrupt him, but doesn't need to do that. Instead, Ciampa invites Breaker to the ring. Out comes Breaker and goes to get a microphone. Ciampa tells Breaker he does not need a mic, and then Ciampa talks about Breaker pinning the champ at War Games last month. Ciampa then says Breaker earned another shot at the title. Ciampa then basically challenges Breaker to a title rematch on January 4th. New Year's Evil, Ciampa chastises Breaker by saying, don't down like he did last time, and then bringing up, obviously, Breaker losing last time. Breaker shares a hole through Ciampa. Ciampa tells Breaker he's not ready to be champion. Ciampa is NXT. Ciampa says Breaker is doing great. Ciampa tells him that he is not ready. Too much too soon. Ciampa goes on to mock Breaker about Breaker winning the title. Ciampa then throws a Steiner reference without actually saying the word Steiner, which is just stupid. Ciampa then changes his tone and says that gets in Breaker's face. Ciampa snarls at Breaker before slapping Breaker, and Ciampa screams at Breaker. Breaker then cannot take any more. He grabs Ciampa by the throat and picks him up with a gorilla press. Breaker puts him down. Breaker then grabs the bell and says that at New Year's Evil there's blood in the water. Shark is gonna eat you alive, he says. Breaker says Ciampa. Breaker also says he will see Ciampa in 2 weeks. Breaker leaves the ring at that point. Waller cuts a promo on Instagram burying AJ Styles. Dakota Kai ambushes Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez backstage getting ready to go out to the ring. Kai tries to ambush Gonzalez with a crate, and then fight is on between the two of them. They fight backstage, and this is the beginning of the match. Neither make it to the ring. They're having a brawl throughout the building. Fight with props scattered around backstage. Kai then tries to run away, throwing stuff at Gonzalez to block her path. Gonzalez then manages to put Kai in the or hit Kai in the face with a high kick. Kai then super kicks Gonzalez after hitting her with an object. Gonzalez goes down, selling all of this as Kai tries to set up a table. Gonzalez then runs into Kai with a cart and then sends Kai crashing into the door. Fight spills outside the building, and then the show cuts to a split screen commercial break. During the break, they both brawl their way to the ring. Match finally begins. Raquel Gonzalez then defeats Dakota Kai in a street fight. Gonzalez then puts Kai in, or beats her in what amounts to the blow for the feud, and then they use a bunch of weapons in the ring. They get into a brawl backstage. They then leave the cart backstage. They basically brawl around the ringside area. Chairs, kendo sticks, trash cans, tables soon all come into play. No one goes through the table set up in the corner, teasing a spot through the table before Kai gives Gonzalez a Rana, which sends them both out of the ring. Trash can is placed over Gonzalez's head. Kai then leaps through the trash can with a double stomp, and then Gonzalez counters. Kai gets given a power bomb on the ring steps. Kai takes a power bomb into the trash can. Gonzalez then puts Kai down for a 3 count. Gonzalez then grabs a mic, cuts a promo where she calls out Women's Champion Mandy Rose. Gonzalez challenges Rose to a title match right here, right now. Show cuts to a commercial. Tony D'Angelo pre-tape promo. Mocks Pete Dunne for a promo for a match later tonight. Gonzalez is still in the ring, calls out Rose. Out comes Cora Jade instead. Jade then comes back with one arm in a sling, tells Gonzalez that she deserves a rematch with Rose. Jade then says she wants Toxic Attraction to pay for injuring her. Jade then says the way to do that is to cut the head off of the snake. Gonzalez responds by basically telling Jade not to get in her way. Gonzalez then says she will go back through anybody to get her title back. Jade then says not if she gets there first. Mandy Rose interrupts and appears on a video screen. Rose is poolside wearing a swimsuit while also wearing her championship belt. Rose then says the champ is speaking and enough whining. Rose announces at New Year's Eve she'll defend her title against both Gonzalez and Jade in a triple threat match. JC Jane and Gigi Dolan of Toxic Attraction hit the ring, blindsiding Gonzalez and Jade with a sneak attack. Heels then hit a babyface with a kendo stick. Jade then sends her to the outside. Gonzalez tries to fight off 2 heels by herself, double team, both women outnumbering Gonzalez, and then beaten down. Table then sets up corner earlier on, and then finally uses Toxic Attraction to send Gonzalez crashing through it. Gonzalez then lays out Table, crumbling over the heels, leave the ring. Gacy then goes into a promo to apologize. Brian Kendrick on behalf of Harland, who threw Kendrick down the stairs, and already this show feels really, really long. Gacy manages to blame Kendrick for the incident because we have to shame the victims. Anyway, grizzled young veterans trying to act tough about their match with Creed brothers later on. Some attempt at comedy here. Frissa Ferosha and Indy Hartwell backstage. Grayson Waller confronts them. Harland is mad at Waller for what he did. Dexter Loomis, Waller insults Loomis, and Ferosha begins to hold Hartwell back from attacking Waller. Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed with Malcolm Bivens. With the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson go to a no contest. Brawl between 4 teams, 2 from the match and 2 from ringside. Leaves them both to being thrown out, and ultimately Creed brothers early advantage, and they both work over Gibson. Brutus does not notice. Drake makes the blind tag, which allows Gibson. Drake takes over on Jacket Time, and Jacket Time enters ringside at this point, carrying a announce table. Jacket Time becomes the impromptu Japanese announce team. Anyway, so heat on Brutus as grizzled young veterans work him over. Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen come out, and they watch the match from ringside. Hot tag by the Creed brothers, but Brutus is soon cut off from by Tope from Gibson. Cheese on powerbombing someone through a mock announce table. Jacket Time gets up and then get into the face of the Creed brothers. Girls young veterans show the Creed brother or shove them into Jack Time and kick off a huge brawl. Mackenzie Mitchell is wearing a holiday sweater featuring The Rock and interviews North American champion Carmelo Hayes, who is wearing a Sasha hat. Hayes and Trick Williams cut a promo on Dexter Lumis. Lumis then defeats Trick Williams with Carmelo Hayes. Lumis submits Williams. Match was not particularly good. Basically, Lumis is in control. Outside interference from Hayes. Cruiserweight champion Roderick Strong attacks Hayes. Malcolm Bivens and Ivan Nile from the Diamond Mine try to watch from the perch. Strong and Hayes then brawl to the back. Williams capitalizes on the distraction that gets them where they need to be, and on heat on Lumis. Coming back by Lumis, Williams tries to hit him with a shoe. Lumis then blocks the shoe and applies his signature sleeper hold. Williams passes out, and Lumis again wins the match. Grayson Waller from behind, out of nowhere, hits Lumis with a chair. Waller then lays out Lumis with a chair shot. AJ Styles is arriving at the building in an SUV and is heading to the ring. Styles confronts Grayson Waller. After the commercial break, Waller is in the ring, cutting the promo on the fans. Entrance of Styles interrupts Waller's promo. Crowd goes crazy. Styles is a superstar. Styles tells Waller to shut up. Styles then cuts promo on Waller, and then they go back and forth on the mic for a moment. Waller then says Styles is here because partner turns him out last night, and then Styles also says Waller is calling him out because Waller wants a rub. I hate it when they use inside terms like that. Styles notes that Waller wrestles with gear like his gloves, and they rip off Styles. AJ Styles responds by basically burying Waller, insulting. He's not ready to be a real superstar. Waller then threatens Styles. Waller says that this is his ring, and Waller says he can end Styles right now. Styles dares him to do it, and then Styles says Waller thinks that he's a superstar after 3 weeks, but Styles has been a star for 20 years. Waller takes his shirt off and teases a fight with Styles, and Waller leaves the ring, tells Styles that Omos can have Styles, and that Waller has things set up next, and then Styles and Waller will have what is pretty sure to be a match somewhere pretty soon. MSK and Matt Riddle have a skit. Riddle comes out, gives them Randy Orton's merchandise. Riddle then reveals that next week MSK will call out Imperium, and Riddle vows to be at their side. And then when they do, MSK and Riddle then ride away on scooters, but then they get hit by a vehicle. MSK wake up at the back of a at the back of a bus stop, and then sets it up as all a dream. They then think so until they find Riddle hat in their fanny pack. Riddle then appears, and then they ride away on scooters. Riddle stops them from looking, or stops and tells them to look both ways before riding away. Enfe defeats Von Wagner. Enfe surprises Wagner, pinning him after a counter hold. Enfe also tries to attack Wagner at the bell, but to no avail. Wagner then begins to pummel him, continuing the theme of the show, where people watch match from ringside. Robert Stone then looks on from the aisle and is scouting Wagner. Wagner then goes for Powerbomb, which is a move used and Ortiz throughout the show, but Enfrey then counters with a Sunset Bomb, scores a 3-count win to win the match. Wagner attacks him. After the bell, Wagner beats him down and leaves him laid out. Apparently a rematch should be coming here. NXT Tag Champs Imperium cut a promo on MSK in a foreign language. Finally, they say MSK may have a shaman, but Imperium has a general, and that's obviously a reference to Walter. So apparently he's coming back. Matches made official for 2 weeks. In New Year's Evil, Tommaso Ciampa defends against Braun Breaker. Rematch, Mandy Rose defends against Women's Championship against Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez in triple threat match. On the way to the ring, Elektra Lopez cuts a promo on Io Shirai lurking in the background, unnoticed by Legado del Fantasma, Zion Quinn. Then Io Shirai defeats Elektra Lopez with Legado del Fantasma. Amazing how far Shirai has fallen over the last little while. Shirai pins Lopez. A bunch of chaos from Zion Quinn coming out. Lopez gains early advantage. Shirai fires up. Lopez cuts her off. Shirai then goes for moonsault. Zion Quinn then storms off. Comes down to ringside. Mendoza and Wilde try to stop him, but Quinn throws side like a ragdoll. Quinn then puts a mistake into his mouth and climbs onto the apron. Quinn then holds the mistletoe over. Lopez approaches him. Lopez grabs the mistletoe out of his hands, and Santos Escobar enters the scene to pull Quinn off of the apron. Quinn reverses a whip and sends Escobar crashing into the ring steps. Meanwhile, the match is ongoing. Lopez is easy prey for Shirai. Palm strike by Shirai, followed by a moonsault press. Shirai then covers Lopez for a 3 count. Backstage, Carmelo Hayes accepts the challenge for the title versus title against Roderick Strong at New Year's Evil. Brian Kendrick wearing a neck brace and then cuts cell phone promo on Joe Gacy and Harland. Kendrick takes off brace and then says he resigns as coach in NXT. He also says he signs a waiver. Kendrick challenges Gacy and Harland and wants them to apologize to his face. Announced for next Tuesday's NXT, contract signing for unification match between Carmelo Hayes and Roderick Strong. Wade Barrett hosts this. Tag team champions Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane versus Raquel Gonzalez, Cora Jade in a non-title match. Pete Dunne defeats Tony D'Angelo. Dunne pins D'Angelo after bitter end. Obviously, big surprise. Dunne brings a good match out of him. Match goes through a commercial break. Dunne targets the fingers of D'Angelo. Dunne also goes after joint manipulation, and the show returns from break. D'Angelo cuts off Dunne, and D'Angelo goes for the float over. Dunne traps D'Angelo in a triangle, yet D'Angelo escapes, holds the powering out with a suplex. D'Angelo follows up with an exploder in the corner. Comeback by Dunne with a series of strikes and near fall. Dunne then stomps on D'Angelo, but Dunne then collapses into a heap. Double Down leads them to trading strikes. D'Angelo counters with a Falcon Arrow, near fall. D'Angelo also grabs crowbar, then goes, which has been hidden at ringside, goes after Dunne, but Dunne counters him. Dunne then applies an armbar. D'Angelo escapes and takes out Dunne's mouthpiece. Dunne counters again and snaps its fingers. D'Angelo hits the bitter end on Dunne and covers for a pinfall. D'Angelo then attacks Dunn after the match, and D'Angelo gives Dunn twisting fisherman buster on the floor. At ringside, D'Angelo again grabs the crowbar and puts the bar in Dunn's mouth, and D'Angelo whacks Dunn in the head with a shot from the crowbar. Show goes off the air, and that is that. This show is abysmal, but that's not something that people don't already know. We'll be back with more right after this.